The mind is a muscle. If you train it, it will serve you. I said those words here about a month ago when I mentioned that I'll be competing or I'll be participating in the Premium Trust Abuja City Marathon. Today, I just crossed the finish line of the Premium Trust Abuja City Marathon about 30 minutes ago. I did not win. The Kenyans won again. Yes, the Kenyans won. But I'm just making this video to actually let you understand that truly the mind is a muscle. If you train it well enough, it will serve you. At some point, this is really my first time running any form of marathon. I have never run any form. I've done a bit of, let's say, 5,000 kilometers, but I have never done any form of marathon before. This is my first time competing in a marathon. And at some point, it was almost like I was going to die if I don't stop. But I did not, and I crossed the finish line. That was like the good thing. Now, this is my medal for participation. Let me just flaunt that a bit before I head on to yeah, this is my medal for participation. I basically just needed to use the first 1 minute to feel myself basically before I get on to what we have for today. Now, yesterday I said close your eyes and let your mind paint the picture. Basically, if you want to go from point A to point B, two things is vitally important. First, usually for the normal average person, you would need to identify point A first, and then point A is where you are at, point B is where you are looking to be. Now, for the purpose of this financial literacy training that we are doing, I did say that let's flip that a bit. Let us close our eyes for a minute and let our mind just take us to the future that we want to be. Now, for today, we want to come back to where we are at right now. So for today, we are looking at clearly defining point A. If you're looking to go from point A to point B, you need to identify point A and then identify point B. So for today, we are looking to clearly define point A. And for me, I like to put people in four classifications basically when it comes to classifying people based on their financial state. Yeah, basically. I like to classify people based on four categories when it comes to classifying people based on their financial state. And what we need to do is basically just find somewhere in each of these four. I really do believe that everybody in the world falls somewhere inside one of these four. So just figure out where you are at and clearly define your current financial state. So basically, the first of my four categories when it comes to defining financial state is I like to call it lack. And the state of lack is basically, it can be in two ways, but basically the state of lack is that state of I don't have, basically. Now it can really get worse. You cannot have and be in debt. But regardless, the state of lack is a state of I don't have. I barely don't even have enough for myself, basically. Yeah. So that is the state of lack. That is the first state in these four categories. Now, secondly, is the state of rat race. That is the word I like to call it, rat race. And usually the people that fall in this category are usually 9 to 5 people. They are usually people that live usually from earnings to spending, from spendings back to earnings, and then all the way through. So basically, someone that is in the rat race would earn, exhaust all of those earning in taking care of their basic expenses, and then go back to being broke and then receive a small earning. They basically just repeat that cycle. That is why it is the rat race. And then thirdly, it is the category of riches. This is like one of those comfortable places that most of us kind of like start to look forward to. And riches is basically you basically just have enough for yourself and your immediate family and loved ones. That is the state of riches. It's basically having enough for yourself and for your immediate family. And then lastly is the state of lack. It's the state of wealth, abundance, which is basically what I think all of us are striving towards. And the state of abundance is a state of legacy. The state of wealth is a state of abundance, it's a state of legacy. It's a state of having enough for yourself, for your family, for your immediate surrounding, and maybe for the next generation. That is what I believe that we are all working towards, but it just doesn't matter. To move from where you are, you need to clearly understand where you are at. So for today, pick your book and your pen, and in details define your financial state based on each of any of these categories that you fall under, and then clearly just define it. That's basically what we are doing. Conscious tracking leads to achievement and then builds foundation. So that's basically it. I remain Monaco Daniel, the mastermind trader from the world's most populous back nation. I'll see you in the next video.